Jeffrey Epstein cover-up, man. What's the situation right here?
Yeah, so he was like a pedophile PT. Obviously, we know Elon Musk and Trump, they got divorced. They had a bit of a back and forth. Elon Musk actually mentioned, by the way, guys, you guys are never going to see the Epstein files because Trump's in them.
We're also going to talk about
credit card debt is the single biggest cause of human suffering.
in America. The least of it was like having a zina with your mum in front of the Kaaba.
36 times.
They don't teach these things at school.
Even the finance courses.
Even in university, forget school.
Economics.
They
Yes.
will not teach you. Like West Coast LA, you drive and you literally, it's called the zombie phone.
No, I've seen it, but it's called Zombie Land.
Yeah.
The West doesn't just take your money away through riba. It also takes your children away.
As part of their schooling now, part of sex education, they make 7-year-old boys and girls get naked in front of each other so they can study each other's bodies.
Why is it that a lot of this depravity comes from France?
Yeah.
I personally have an experience with France. I was 11 years old, and that was the first time I ever saw any filth, like as it was thrown onto me. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Guys, welcome back to another episode of the Chat with My Bye podcast. Today, we have 4 interesting topics that we want to discuss, inshallah ta'ala. Number 1, the Jeffrey Epstein cover-up. This is something that's been spoken about a lot in the media, and there's actually huge implications for, us as Muslims to understand exactly what's going on. And inside every dark cloud, there is a silver lining. We're also going to talk about how it's actually publicly being spoken about how interest is, the single biggest cause of human suffering in America, right? Which is now being spoken about publicly. And we're going to discuss this, riba and so on and so forth, and the economic situation in America and whatnot. We're also going to talk about the consequences of leading our children in the West. Unfortunately, there's some things that have gone viral recently that show people that are Muslims doing some very, very disgusting and filthy things. And that's what happens when you leave your children in the lands of the immoral, the disbelievers. And then finally, we're going to touch on Elon Musk. He's made his own party, his own political party. And there's a lot of implications there for us as well and lessons to learn. So without any further ado, Bakr, the Jeffrey Epstein cover-up, man, like for people that might not be privy to this, because even me, I'll be honest, I've been hearing Jeffrey Epstein for a long time. And I thought this guy was just a pedophile, right? And I don't mean that to undermine the situation, but it's so much more than that. In fact, it seems like they want to keep talking about the pedophilic situation so that they can actually ignore really some of the other nefarious things that were going on, underneath the covers as well. So just break down to us very quickly, like what's the situation right here?
Yeah, so he was like a pedophile PT. He's a pedophile personal trainer. So he was a pedophile himself. He used to help others become pedophiles as well.
Okay.
He came out like from nowhere. I think before that, he used to be a teacher or something along those lines.
Yeah, maths teacher.
He was a maths teacher. And then suddenly he was catapulted into the world of finance, had a job in a bank. But out of nowhere, he started growing all these massive clients and started having a lot of funds. There is speculation. People say that they believe that he was a Mossad agent, that he was actually funded by Mossad and all these other things in order to entrap all these rich individuals, rich, powerful individuals, make all these connections with people, get them into compromising positions, fly them to his island, get them to be with, underage girls, possibly even boys, Allah alam, who knows what was happening.
Just quickly, who are the type of people that have visited his island? Because this is documented fact,
so,
right?
I mean, I don't want to open us up to any lawsuits. I don't know exactly for a fact who's been proven that they weren't, but big names like, for example, Prince Andrew was implicated in this whole thing. Yeah. He was the Queen's son in the UK.
Bill Clinton, apparently.
Bill Clinton, Donald Trump,
Bill Gates.
Yeah. Bill Gates. Like, there's a lot. Even apparently, what's that? The guy in the wheelchair, the scientist,
Stephen Hawking,
apparently even done a matting. Like, all this is speculation. We don't know exactly who did it. Only Allah knows what actually happened because they're refusing to release the files that they've apparently got. Anyway, so he had a lot of information on these people. He was very well connected. He ended up, even I think in the early 2000s, he ended up getting a very, very, very light plea deal. Yeah. And part of that plea deal was that he wasn't actually allowed to be prosecuted in the future again for these kind of crimes. So a lot of people were confused. Why is this happening? Like, there seems to be some kind of cover-up. Why is he getting off so lightly? Especially if he did leave this behind this massive trail. So he was imprisoned. I can't remember exactly what the charges were. He was imprisoned. His girlfriend, who was part of the program, was also imprisoned. And then Qadrullah ma sha fa'al, he died in prison. Apparently, they say he committed suicide. But there was a lot of this doesn't add up. A lot of questions. Trump's fan base, in the election campaign, they were saying, there's a cover up here. We're gonna release all the documents. We're gonna tell everyone exactly what happened. And then they came into power. At the beginning, they were like, yeah, we've got the documents. They're on my desk. We're going to be releasing this. It's shocking. We've got flight logs. We've got client lists. And then recently, they're just kind of like, Now there's nothing. Now, in fact, now he's saying it's a hoax. It was a Democrat hoax. There's nothing real behind it. Funnily enough, a couple months ago, obviously we know Elon Musk and Trump broke up, right? They got divorced. And they had a bit of a back and forth. In that back and forth, Elon Musk actually mentioned, by the way, guys, you guys are never going to see the Epstein files because Trump's in them. He just left it. So now there is speculation. Maybe, perhaps that's the reason why Trump doesn't want it to be released. But yeah, that's the world we live in. The rich and the powerful, they commit all these disgusting, abhorrent things. This is from a sexual nature. But even as we can discuss later on, financially and whatnot, they ransack the economy, ransack the public, and then they put rules in place to allow themselves to get off. In this country, if you post a tweet that's a little bit rude, you get put into jail. But my man, these top guys, and also, sorry, there's never been a single conviction for any of his so-called clients. Not a single of the rich and powerful guys that he served, that they apparently, they're saying that he was the guy that used to serve all these dons with these little girls. Not a single one's ever been. So surely, should it not be free Jeffrey Epstein? Like, there must be some kind of, agenda against him, right? There's no crime.
So Sheikh Sam, why is this divide in America right now? Why is this situation having such a massive impact
I
in
think
the USA?
there were a few things.
Because it just sounds like the guy was just a pedophile.
Yes, but there are more proofs to it. For example, when Bill Gates' name came up, it was around the same time as COVID. So people are already upset at Bill Gates because you could go way back and listen to his tapes. He was talking about anticipating a pandemic would come and there would be we need to depopulate the world and all those kind of things. And around the same time, his name came up in the Epstein files. So people are like, oh my God, these are all, it's like a cult. Like they all planned this. It's a cult, right? And then a few other, Bill Clinton's name came up. So they're like, oh my God, we always knew Clintons are behind everybody disappearing and these things happening. So actually the crowd on the right, the mega crowd was like, man, these are all like, the lefties doing all these things and they're hiding their the names and they're protecting their people. So when our man comes back to the power, we're going to all get the files, So Trump was actually asked point blank in one of in an interview leading up to the election before he became the president this time, that are you going to release all the JFK files? He's like, yeah. MLK files, yeah. Epstein files. It's like, he's got a little uncomfortable, That's like, well, sometimes it's just like, made up stuff. He said phony stuff. A lot of phony stuff in Epstein files. We don't want people to get caught up and their names being dragged, but we'll see. So he actually never really promised, but he said, we'll see. But his crowd was expecting for him to do it. But again, when this thing happened. But one thing is, Sheikh, I feel like, and there's always people changing, but usually I'm seeing the conservatives, the good ones, are actually care about the truth more than just their blind loyalty to the party. If that happened during the Democrats, they would have made excuse, we don't know. Joe Biden is wiser than us. That's why he's not releasing, whatever. Let's move on. But you can see clearly guys like Tucker Carlson, Lady Candace Owens, then Dave Smith, 2 Catholics, 1 Jew. They're all basically like calling out Trump. Like, no, this is not acceptable. This is absolutely not acceptable, which means they prefer the truth. So these are closer to like our messaging. There'll be more.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Sorry, I thought you finished.
Yeah, I did finish, literally, yeah.
Being a Muslim entrepreneur who's committed to making hundreds and millions of dollars through his business without compromising his deen, I can tell you this is a very lonely journey. But over the last year, I've realized that I'm not alone. In fact, some of the most sophisticated entrepreneurs are Muslims who fear Allah, and they watch this show. They attend our retreats, and they use their wealth for good. The issue is that they're all scattered. They're all alone. But inshallah, that changes once and for all on September the 6th. Because we're going to be launching our exclusive and powerful circle of Muslims making millions, inshallah ta'ala. If you make millions as an entrepreneur or have at least $10 million in assets through investments, then you qualify to join our waiting list at the link below. P.S. I just want to mention, money isn't the only qualifying factor, but it definitely is the first. So you can register your interest at the link below, inshallah ta'ala, and join the waiting list. With that said, let's get back into the discussion.
this is interesting because even if you remember back in, I think, 2016, 2017, when the whole Haytham al-Haddad thing about voting was going on at that time, they were obviously saying it's wajib to vote Labour, vote for sorry, I can't say they said vote Labour, but I remember they were saying basically like the left, right? I remember even then we were obviously saying, number one, democracy is kufr, like don't vote at all. But on top of that, back then in those videos, I was saying, if I was to vote, I'll be honest with you, I would vote right. I wouldn't even go left. I believe left is more depraved. Right? They're
Left are generally atheists.
Right,
usually,
and they're like LGBTQ, like heavy, liberalism, and they smile at you and open their arms at you, and then when you come in, they stab you in the back by injecting all this LGBT stuff into. At least with the right, they tell you, listen, I don't like you.
Yes.
You got brown skin, bro. I don't like you. I don't want you, but I need your vote. So if you come, maybe. But they also. They have more morals. They have more principles. As he said, look, there are people on the right. There are some who, bro, like Ted Cruz, joke, and other guys like that who are just, I'm here to serve Israel. But I'm saying there are people who are on the right who you can see they've actually got values. And a lot of their policies actually make a lot more sense. They know what's in between a man and a woman, bro. They can clearly tell you this is a man, this is a woman. Like, so I don't know. I just found that funny that people on the left. People think that they're close to the Muslims. I would actually say, number one, don't vote for either of them. Voting is haram. But I would say the right is actually better than the left, in my personal opinion.
Al-Kitab, people of the book, right? It's in the Quran. The people of the book are better than atheists. Sheikh, what's your take on this?
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa rasulillah. In the next 5 to 10 years, I am expecting some huge changes when it comes to pedophilia. We should be very alarmed, right? When people talk about pedophilia, like for those who don't understand what it is people who are mature, advanced in age, having intimacy, being attracted to very minor people. I'm talking about the younger they are, the better the brain, the dopamine levels get stimulated. The more turned on a person is, okay? Which leads to very, very disgusting acts of intimacy, stuff like, and I even call it intimacy, but rape and so on. Within the next 5 to 10 years, this is going to become something along the lines of a letter or two being added to the whole list of things, right? Because, see, pedophilia, by the way, it existed as a recognized entity that had certain rights in the 70s in America.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so if you do a bit of research, there was an actual organization that was championing pedophile rights since the 70s, early 70s.
Okay.
Obviously, it didn't catch as much
traction
as the LGBTQ, which in the 70s was still considered as a mental health problem, right? It was within the DSM manual, it was considered as a...
Just like homosexuality was.
Yeah, homosexuality manual.
That's part of it, right?
That's what I'm saying, the LGBTQ. However, recently, in the last 3 years, there's been some, I believe it was some of these, I don't want to say TED, but TED-like appearances and talks where pedophilia was explained from a psychological perspective and as an academic thing.
Okay.
A discussion in academics where a person cannot really control themselves and they rebranded it. And that's the first step. So it's called now MAP, minor attracted person.
Just like they did with sodomy, right? Sodomy, which is a man entering his frontal genitals into another man's back passage. They call it gay, which means happy.
Yeah.
Okay. And by the way, there's a hadith the Prophet said, a time will come where shaitan will make them change the name of things.
Yes.
يسمون الأشياء بغير اسمها أو كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. Yeah, exactly.
Get a bottle.
Yeah. So relabeled, rebranded, because it has to be something academic. And you can find this speech online. It is in front of a big audience. And there's some research, some academic research into the brain of pedophiles. And when you listen to it, you almost feel sorry for them. You almost kind of like, well, they're people as well, you know? I mean, we should...
They can't help it.
Yeah, they cannot help it. We should have mercy on them and so on.
Love is love.
Yeah, love is love. So
age is just a number.
So that's the thing. When now with the whole identifying as different things, right? That's opened the door. So now a person could identify as a 5-year-old and feel connection to an actual 5-year-old, and no one can tell them that, well, you're wrong, right? So that's going to push now this generalization and normalization of pedophilia. You can imagine that most people are going to push against it due to them having children and whatnot. However, it will come a time where...
So you know what's scary? I was actually just thinking this morning. I was thinking, because of this client list with all these like... if you look at the people that are connected to Jeffrey Epstein, it's actually shocking. To mention Bill Gates and Bill Clinton and Donald Trump, these are guys that are known, bro. There's guys that actually control the country, like congressmen and senators.
So
and
these are
generals.
the mela, you know? These are
the guys that
VIPs.
the actual powerful guys.
The ones who operate from the shadows.
Equivalent that we would call, I guess, Ahl Hali wal Aqd.
Exactly, right? Yeah, the Al-Hali wal
in a khilafah, like the guys who are like
the movers and shakers.
Movers and shakers.
The guys that make the decisions. But they were all connected with this guy, to the point where I heard Tucker Carlson say, if anyone wants to actually get a full understanding of everything that happened end to end, not that I 100% agree with this guy, but Tucker Carlson done a podcast with this guy called Daryl Cooper, where he went through everything end to end. If someone wants to get up to date with the story and what's actually happening, we'll link it below, inshallah ta'ala. But at one point he was like, bro, we're not asking, the guy Daryl Cooper on the podcast, he goes, we're not asking our politicians to stop taking bribes. Carry on taking bribes. Because the only thing I ask is, can we just have one politician that's not connected to Jeffrey Epstein? Just one.
But this is such an important point, though, like, because, see, when you look at sexuality, the question that we need to ask ourselves, how can so many people be attracted to children? Right? You might have certain problems, let's say, past experiences, traumas, but you have here a trend. People in power having sex with children. And when you look at the behaviors of people who are connected to sihr, shaitan, and evil, you find that they have to commit certain events that deal with taking the innocence of certain animals, certain people, and obviously children.
In the Quran, they have to wipe feces into it.
But specifically, there's a sacrilegious type of behavior that is done so they would sacrifice, for example, virgins. They'll sacrifice people who are innocent, pure babies, and so, right? So for me, I believe that's what it's connected to. I don't believe that so many politicians and powerful people have attraction, uncontrolled attraction, right? Because they're using this whole pedophilia, which is attraction towards little children, to mask actually, I think, something more than that.
So did you guys ever see, and it was filthy and disgusting, but there was these images that were circulating from like an event with A-list celebrities, Lady Gaga and all these people. They attended an event with a theme was basically very, very, very vulgar and morbid. So they had basically like dead corpses, and they were eating off dead corpses. Not real dead corpses, but it was basically...
Right, just a theme.
Yeah, just a theme. And they had pedophilic references in the walls, on the images and everything, and so on and so forth. And all these top A-list celebrities were just attending and taking pictures, and then it got exposed online. And it seemed like a proper, like, mad satanic ritual. But the point that I was coming at was that, you know, with the level of people being implicated in this being of such a high standard in terms of power, right? These guys don't go down without a fight. So if the American public doesn't stop and they demand, like, we want to know what actually happened, and these guys are going to come out and be exposed and be implicated for being child molesters, the only way out for them at that point is to just make pedophilia something normal, just like homosexuality was something that they normalized. And literally the way that they do this is what you mentioned, that they publish academic articles.
And it's done very easily, by the way.
Say that again?
It's done very easily.
It's very easily. And the reason I think is because the guy that was Jeffrey Epstein's, I think, father-in-law, I'm not sure if he's married to that woman, but the guy...
No, he's not married.
The father of his partner, right? Robert Maxwell, who was the Rupert Murdoch in the 1980s.
And he was actually an Israeli Mossad asset.
And that's established.
Intelligence, he had direct connections with them.
Absolutely. So him, he actually he opened up a publishing house where he would publish scientific literature that would push and promote certain agendas. And that's something that they've always done, right? Like you make homosexuality a scientific thing, make it a thing that we can back by evidence. And then suddenly what happens? The narrative starts to change. So a couple of things for me that I think are just a bit important on this topic before we move on. As we mentioned, right, the paedophilia side, that's what everyone talks about. But actually, the side that's even more strange is, because you said that's not, unfortunately, it's not strange that these guys, they want children and they want to do things with them. Unfortunately, as sickening as it is, it happens, right? But the parts of the story that don't really add up is that this guy is a multi-billionaire and he's got the most richest and powerful men that are kind of under his control. There's a guy, I think his name's Lex Weston.
Yeah.
And
I know what you're talking about.
And this guy, he was the number one clothing manufacturer in the United States. He owns Victoria's Secret. He owns Abercrombie and Fitch and these companies. This guy gave Jeffrey Epstein a power of attorney. He only knew him for 2 years, bro. And he gave him a power of attorney to do anything and everything on his behalf.
Wow.
Bro, a guy, one of the richest men in America.
He was Epstein's biggest client at that point.
He was his biggest client.
Yep.
So point being is that a guy doesn't randomly just do that. Just give you absolute power and control.
From a math teacher
From a math teacher, yeah.
to raising billions of dollars of capital.
So it just seemed that this guy, he had
Everything costs something, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that case that you talked about where he got implicated for molesting little girls in Florida, there was 40 independent corroborating witnesses. And
Who, Epstein or Robert Maxwell?
Epstein.
Okay.
Epstein. You know what he did, bro? He dipped to Israel. He went to Israel after being convicted, by the way. After being convicted. They never took his passport away.
He was allowed to leave jail 6 days a week.
6 days a week, 12 hours a day. 12 hours a day.
Wow.
And the security that guarded him, and he was out with people that were on his own payroll. You know what I'm saying? And he had a whole wing to himself on the one day that he was actually there. Point being is that this guy, he clearly had there's a lot more details, and obviously we're not journalists, it's not our area of expertise, but there's a lot more connections to him and various different intelligence agencies, primarily Mossad. Right?
That's why it would make sense why Congress, why all these people that are in power are such staunch supporters, and they have to toe the line no matter what happens.
That's the point I wanted to get to.
No matter, bro, 15 paramedics got killed, they got buried, the ambulances got buried with them. No huge, why? Because they got pictures of me with flipping
Little girls.
little boys maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not, I'm doing what they tell me to do.
That's the point. And I think that's the point that's really important for us to underline here, is that now the wall has been, as in now, like everyone would look at what's happening, right? Anyone with a heart would look at what's happening on TV and say, bro, our province is being murdered, bro. And you guys are saying 6 Israeli murders and, 100 Palestinian casualties. Bro, look at the words. Do you know what I'm saying? And you think, bro, you have no heart. And even I saw one journalist that used to work for Fox News, and he left. He was like, bro, we were told by the Murdochs who own the network to not talk about these issues, right? To not talk about certain issues. So point being is that, it makes sense, bro, why you lot are singing a certain tune when you got caught with not that I'm saying that this happened with the Murdochs, but if people up there got caught with their trousers down, bro, and a 12-year-old girl, and you've got those pictures, it makes bloody sense. And the reason why I think right now people in America are so angry is because this now just happened on the back of what happened with Iran. Because America's on this, bruv, leave Israel.
Right.
Look after America. That's what you guys promised.
America
So
first.
stop bringing us into this war. And what's happening is that they're seeing that, bro, whatever
That ain't happening.
whatever the stakes, our leaders just are back in Israel.
United States of Israel.
Exactly. And what's happening here is that I think that this is, inshallah, the beginnings of the decline.
Beginning of the end.
Of the USA. And I wanted to just bring it back to an ayah in the Quran. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, He said, وَإِذَا أَذَقْنَا النَّاسَ رَحْمَةً مِّن بَعْدِ مَسَّا أَضَرَّتْهُم من بعد ضراء مستهم إذا لهم مكر في آياتنا قل الله أسرع مكرا. Allah said, when Allah Azza wa Jalla lets you taste mercy after calamity struck you, what happens? You straight away start plotting against him. So if you look at the USA, it is one of them, like literally the word makr is like covert. it's a covert operation. It's a plot. You start plotting against Allah and His deen. This is literally what these guys did, bro. The CIA and the intelligence agencies have just been running riot in South America and the Muslim world, right? Like, bro, people don't realize how deep it goes. These guys are beefing Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan, but then they're backing Al-Qaeda in other parts of the world at the exact same time. At the exact same time. These guys are funding the fight against the Russians in Afghanistan in the early 1990s. But at the same time, those same people that they supported, they've come back and bombed them in 2001 or 2002. Like, the story is crazy, bro. It's absolutely crazy with how these guys have been playing the chessboard behind the scenes to keep control, whether it be for power and oil or whatever it might be. But now what's happening? Allah said, قُلِ اللَّهُ أَسْرَعُ مَكْرًا. You plot. You think your covert operation is good. Allah said, Allah Azza wa Jall's plan in response to your covert operation, Allah's plan is even better and faster. Wallahi, right now, if you look at the USA, this fentanyl drug that's turned people into zombies. You know, since 2003, it's the number one killer of men from the age of 18 to 40, bro. The number one killer, right? Interest has got those people starving. Those soldiers who went to war, I think up until 2018, you know how many American soldiers were killed in battle?
Up until 2018?
Yeah. 7,000. Do you know how many committed suicide? 30,000 plus. For every one that was killed in battle,
PTSD.
4 times more.
4 times more akhi were killed. Suicide. My point is, akhi, this it's all coming and it's crumbling and it's falling apart. And to me, I think number one, what they should do for everyone, it should give them thiqa billah. It should give them trust in Allah Azza wa Jal. Akhi, sometimes Allah says in the Quran, وَتِلْكَ الْأَيَّامُ نُدَاوِلُهَا بَيْنَ النَّاسِ, and like that we alternate the days between the people. And it was only because of our sins and our shortcomings that Allah Azza wa Jal made us feast for these people. But now Allah Azza wa Jal is showing, قُلِ اللَّهُ أَسْرَعُ مَكْرًا, right? Allah Azza wa Jal is faster and swifter in response to your covert operations. So if that's the case, and by the way, Allah doesn't need to give victory because we did something good. This is Allah's sunnah. It's time for us to wake up and start obeying Allah, to repent to Allah and use this as an opportunity. You know why? China saw it as an opportunity. China's seen this country's flopping. What are they doing? Bro, they're building their infrastructure. Yeah, in the last 35 years, they went from a poverty-stricken country to a leading economic world power. So the point is that it's an opportunity for us. And I think for me personally, that's the silver lining in this Epstein madness and all the other stuff that's happening in America. Do you guys want to hear something depressing? I've been searching for a halal investment opportunity with high returns for over 15 years. And other than Bitcoin, regretfully, I never found anything solid. The opportunities I found always had one of 3 issues. It was either haram disguised as halal, or it was super risky and volatile, or it had painfully low returns. I'm talking the type where they mentioned you make your first million when you're 50. But that all changed when I interviewed the most impressive real estate investor I've ever met, Brother Sam Amin. I interviewed him on my podcast, Righteous and Rich. And he blew my mind away with a halal real estate investment opportunity where he's helping his investors get 50% returns in 2 years. Allahumma barik. In fact, some of the most well-known students of knowledge and well-respected businessmen have invested with him and made hundreds of thousands and even millions. Allahumma barik. And get this, it's actually halal. There are no dodgy fatwas. There's no tricks. It's 100% halal. But there is a catch. There's always a catch. The catch is you have to have at least $100,000 liquid ready to invest within the next 30 days to qualify for his current development project in Dubai, where it's projected that he's going to be giving 50% returns to his investors over a 2-year period, inshallah. So if you're interested and you'd like to book a call with this team, you can do so at the link below. But just a heads up, if you don't have the $100,000 ready to deploy in 30 days, they won't take that call. With that said, let's get into the podcast. This actually brings us to the next point, right? Because one of these things that was, we were looked at as strangers for, was interest by our own people. Like Muslims will criminalize you. Parents would go to war with their children, practicing parents, by the way, with beards and mothers with hijab and praying 5 times a day. Yes. They would go to war with their children over what? university loans,
Student
And
loans.
and mortgages, right? And so on and so forth. May Allah will guide them. Amin. But I'm saying that's how widely accepted interest became. But interest actually is something that was even in Christianity forbidden, right? And Judaism forbidden. Usury. And
But again, it was rebranded.
it was rebranded as interest, right?
Yes.
But the thing that blew my mind is that now, actually, I never thought I'd see this, because interest is so intertwined into like the economy, right? And into America, that these guys are now publicly talking about how it is like the single biggest factor of human suffering in America, which blows my mind. Because, and I'm going to share why, but I just want to play the clip to you guys before we discuss it, inshallah.
And if you're getting rich by loaning money to people at incredibly high interest rates, that's something you're going to have to talk to God about. That is not good. That is not virtuous. That's disgusting. And the fact that nobody feels free to say that, nobody feels like you can just say like 30% on a credit card? Why is anybody paying a credit card bill? I said to somebody recently, I feel like I'm very moderate and sensible and, well, yeah, that's what they used to call it. It was forbidden. I said to someone recently, you know, we really need a political party where people just like, it's the, hey, I'm not paying my credit card bill party. And let's just bring down Citibank. Just not permanently, maybe permanently. But what credit card debt is the single biggest cause of human suffering that I'm aware of in the United States. It's not Iran. Iran's not doing that. Oh, you, a tool of the Ayatollah. No, I'm actually Episcopalian, not Shiite. Not a tool of the Ayatollah. I'm just very committed to observing physical reality and drawing my conclusions from that. I'm what we call a physicalist. I believe in the things right in front of me, the things I can touch and smell. And the people I can touch and smell are suffering not from Iran, not from Qatar. They're suffering from their credit cards and their inability of their kids to buy a house. Yeah. I don't think Dan Crenshaw is sold on this. Dan Crenshaw believes our threats are in other countries. Okay, they may be, but how are they bigger than credit card interest? So I suggested this person, who's a really good guy, I was like, hey, why don't we start, I'm not gonna pay my credit card bill party, or I'm not gonna pay my mortgage. You know, because they always say, like, if the very rich, if you borrow enough from a bank, you're kind of in charge of the bank, because they need you to pay them back, so they're totally happy to negotiate terms with you. But if you borrow a little bit from the bank, they'll just take your house away. So what if people got together and just decided, wait a second, 30% interest is a lot, especially since they're pushing credit cards on kids like crack. And I know that conservatives are always like, well, it's your fault if you don't pay back the credit card. Yeah, okay, it's my fault, but maybe it's a little bit their fault too. They're pushing this crap on kids. So I say to this guy, maybe just people get together, not like everybody, but just a couple million people are not gonna pay our credit cards, and just like bring the bank to its knees, and the CEO weeps on television, they readjust it down a little bit.
This guy should hire some bodyguards, bro.
He goes on, and the clip is really powerful. Just to give context, this is, if I'm not mistaken, this is the biggest, one of the biggest journalists in the USA right now, right? This guy is, at least he's the most viral journalist currently as it stands, to the best of my understanding.
He used to be like a regular mainstream right-wing guy when he was at Fox, but then him going independent, I think he got sacked, right? Him going independent is actually what suddenly brought out.
May Allah guide him.
Amin.
May Allah guide him. Amin. But, bro, man said the single biggest cause of human suffering in America.
Yeah.
You know what blows my mind, akhi? Is that, because you know sometimes growing up here, even I'm looking at all the ayat of how bad riba is. And even I'm accepting it. But you know there's a little part of you where it's like, is it really that bad? Like, I understand it's bad. But is it like Allah
There's things like murder, there's things like drugs. Like, is riba that
Allah
really
said,
that
I'm
bad?
declaring war on you.
Somehow.
Right? There's a hadith, its authenticity is disputed, but the meaning so many scholars mention is that is worse. There's like 60 or 70 parts of riba, and the least of it is worse, or is like having a zina with your mum in front of the Kaaba.
36 times.
36 times, barakallah feek. I'm like, bro, this is insane, right? Like how evil is. Imam Malik rahimahullah said, I studied the Quran and I tried to ask myself, what's the most evil thing to consume? Worse than pig, worse than alcohol. He said, riba.
Allah.
So point being is that, and obviously I was able to connect the dots, because you look at it, you think, you know, like bro, it enslaves people.
It literally saves
It
you.
enslaves people. It oppresses generations.
Lifetime of debt,
It enslaves nations. Like nations get enslaved, right? But now, subhanAllah, they're coming out with it and saying not fentanyl, not
Iran.
not Iran, not no, bro, not Muslims, riba. So this to me is very telling. So,
This was actually the entire reason why we actually decided to do this podcast in the first place.
Exactly. And subhanallah, Sam, what is the economic situation for people in America right now? Because I want to understand what he sees, because I don't see the human suffering in America, right? Like, explain it to us, make it make sense. What has led him, what reality on the ground has led him to say this?
So going back, Sheikh, so the funny thing is, when America abolished slavery, that's when they came up with rebranding it with American Dream.
Okay.
You know what American Dream is?
What is it?
It's modern day slavery.
Okay.
Basically, you have to own a house on a 30-year mortgage. And in 30 years, if you live, you pay it off, you own the house.
Okay.
What it does is, that's the modern day slavery. It makes the bank richer. It makes the rich richer. So the American Dream is made for the banks, the commercial banks, to function.
Very interesting.
Because they can continue to lend money, they can continue to earn interest, and they can continue with that earned interest, continue to buy U.S. Treasury bonds, which is again based on interest. And with those U.S. Treasury bonds, that's how U.S. is in 32 trillion debt.
So I'm going to need you to break this down, right? Because you said a lot there. It's going to fly over people's heads, also mine. So what's a Treasury bond?
Treasury bond is, okay, so let's say America wants to go to war. It actually first was started by King Charles or King Henry in America. I mean, in UK, United Kingdom, in England, right at that time. So they needed money. They ran out of money. So what they did is, okay, in government you trust. What we're going to do is we're going to borrow, because the noblemen were like, we're done. We're not going to finance any more wars. Okay. So like, we have to bypass the noblemen and go to the regular common people. So how do we raise money from them? Okay, trust us, give the money, and we're going to pay you interest. So that's how bonds started. Okay. Bonds are basically government taking loans from common people.
Okay, so a bond is a loan, but one with the government.
Government is the borrower.
Is the borrower.
Yes, and common people are the lender.
Back with interest.
And they're paid back with interest.
Okay, so bond means loan that government takes.
Loan that government takes.
Jameel. Okay, cool.
It started by taking from the common people. Then they needed to go on more wars. Common people are done with money.
So I just want to make sure I understand. So what you're saying is that they gave out loans.
Yes, to the government.
No, as in initially, you give out loans to people who pay the banks.
No, this is now. This is now. So before, how the bonds started was common people, me and you, would give our money, our hard-earned money, to the government.
To the government.
So the government, you trust that the government's is going to pay you back.
Yes.
And it's going to give you the interest.
So it's a safe investment. The government's going to give the loan back to me with interest.
Okay.
Then what happened is common people also ran out of money. So what the government came up with, we're going to do this institution, the bank, commercial banks. They're going to give out money to the common people.
Who pay us back with interest.
Who will pay the bank back with interest. And with that interest, bank's going to buy the bonds from us. Do you understand?
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the whole, this is how the whole economy works now.
1 second. So the whole point is to just, get cash flow for the government?
Yes.
That's okay. So this is...
So the $32 trillion debt that when we hear, America is in $32 trillion debt, I think, right now. $32 trillion.
Yeah, it's going to go a lot higher with the big, beautiful bill.
Yeah, so with big, beautiful bill, it's going up another 4 or 5 trillion. I think it's 40 trillion now, right? Who does the America owe this to? It's to these large pension funds, insurance brokers, insurance companies, mutual fund companies, and the banks. Okay, they owe this to them. Okay, so and how are these people, how are these institutions lending to the government at the first place? Is by giving out loans to common people, and with that interest, that's how the government. So it's basically our money, Americans' money, that goes to the government at the end through layers of interest upon interest upon interest. But the point being, Sheikh, when you, like the Sheikh mentioned, when you rebrand slavery with the American dream, who doesn't want to have a dream? Who doesn't want to have a vision and call it the American dream, the land of the free and the home of the brave and American dream? Yes, You know, and that we talked about
But the dream is to get a mortgage.
dream is to get a house. Of course, you cannot afford a house, so you have to get a mortgage from the dream is to own a house. So you cannot own a house. So how are you going to do it? You're going to basically get, and this is not me, the first one who's talking about it. Many Tuckers and Dave Smiths and all of these people have talked about it before, but people never paid attention.
If I can just mention, subhanAllah, you know, one thing that a lot of people don't realize, and I think it's important to just be attentive to this, because number one, it wakes you up to what's actually happening. Also, you can learn a couple of things as well. Is, you know, these big issues that we have, LGBT and this and whatnot, but these are just businesses.
Of course.
These are just businesses. Like the LGBTQ agenda, there was that documentary that came out, What is a Woman? And it came out that, bro, it was just, this whole thing was just
Big pharma, man.
yeah, because
money.
because the surgery costs, the big pharma companies make $150,000 for every surgery that takes place. So for them, there was a marketing campaign, but they made billions off of this. Do you know what I'm saying? So even now, pushing riba, this is a marketing strategy.
Of course.
Even with the Iraq war, bro, they brought in the guy, I think from General Motors or General Electric. I think it was General Motors. One of the top executives who then was part of Bush's administration. He actually wanted to announce the war in August, but he said no. He said, you never launch a product in August. This is a saying in marketing, right? You never launch in August because everyone's on holiday in a way. So you launch in September. See, and what he meant by that was September the 11th. Is that you re-invoke all those angry feelings inside the people, but not then even the WMDs. Weapons of mass destruction. This was a branding ploy. They were like, well, what do we say? How do we word it? How do we describe it? Sounds so sinister and nefarious, isn't it? Weapons of mass destruction. But so I just wanted to just say that.
No, Shah, this is
Barakallah feek.
So yeah, so basically, now what has happened is, usual rule is for home ownership. So they're promoting mortgage as American dream.
Yeah.
So you could be enslaved to the bank forever. 30 years is pretty much forever.
Yeah.
You're going to be paying interest. So you're enslaved. Okay. Now the second point, what they used to teach, or what the standard was, that your house payment, your mortgage payment should not be more than 30% of your income. Right? And all of this, Sheikh, we're answering to why Tucker is bringing it up now. I'm coming to that, right? So all of this is like sequencing. So it shouldn't be more than 30%. Like for the first time in many decades, or for the first time, the post-social media era, which is post-2008, 2009, and after the recovery, first time it so happened that, except for only 3 cities in America, Detroit, Pittsburgh, and St. Louis. Only 3 cities, not states. There are many, like hundreds and thousands of cities. Out of only those 3 cities, you can afford a home with 30% of your income.
Oh, really?
The rest of the nation, you need average, 50% plus of your income to afford a house with a mortgage.
What?
In LA, you need 105% of your median income to afford a median home, which is basically impossible.
And people are still getting the mortgages?
Now they're like waking up. What is happening?
But have they been getting mortgages?
So now what would the mortgage brokers do? They have to survive. They have to get commission. So they're coming up with these products like, buy now, do this, do that. The thing is marry the house, date the rate. The rate is temporary, it's high. Like so many marketing, again, brand, just to still push the agenda.
They refinance so many times as well, and they rebrand and repackage.
So what is refinancing? These are terms that many people are not familiar with.
What do you think? You take a second mortgage on the same house.
What does that mean?
You basically borrow a house. You borrow money against the value of that house.
You use the house as collateral.
But whatever you paid so far.
One thing that's very interesting is a lot of the things that we're seeing happening now are the same things that happened in the build-up to 2008 financial crash.
Yeah.
Where, as you said, because mortgage brokers still need to make money, banks still need to make money to get mortgages, they're slowly reducing the requirements for a mortgage now. Back then, one thing they started doing was ninja mortgages.
Okay.
No income, no job.
No income, no job, yeah.
Yes, so you had no income, no job. So literally, they could just come in and just apply for a mortgage and get it. Like there were people that were unemployed.
And why is that a problem?
Because they can't pay back those loans. So the bank, let's just say, I give Gabriel Romani a $100 loan, for example, right? But with interest, he's paying back $200. I on my balance sheet write that I'm worth 200. So when I want to then borrow money from you, I'll tell you, look, I've got 200. You give me 200, I'll pay you back 400. You see no problem. You now count that as 400. I've got 400, but you don't. All of this is based on him paying. So if he flops on his payment back to me, my 200 is now worth 0 because he can't pay me back. I can't pay you back. You can't pay him back. And then, because that's what happened, right? Like when he explained it, he said the common people give the money to the banks The banks then repackage it, give it to these big hedge funds and
Mortgage-backed securities, all that, and also buy
and then
bonds from the
finally it
government.
goes to the government.
Yeah.
What happens when the regular guy can't pay his mortgage
There you
anymore
go.
now? And you're seeing, bro, you got buy now, pay later for flipping food, fast food. People are
Yes,
doing buy now,
we're
pay
not
later.
even like talking about like food and clothes and kids'
Basic
education.
essentials.
So it just kind of like builds. People can pay for a little bit. You can kind of struggle, and then you basically reach a point where like I'm done. So
And
what the bank does now, they'll repossess,
Yes.
and they might take your home
Shah,
away.
just to echo on that specific point, last quarter was the highest default rate
That's crazy.
for buy now, pay later, BNPL. It was the highest default rate last quarter.
Even Klarna, I saw they
Yeah.
took some fat losses.
But they'll
in the UK.
repossess your
Who's
home.
Crown?
They'll repossess your
It's one of those
car,
companies, buy now, pay later
You're
companies.
paying 4 installments, and
Okay.
I read,
and then they sell them again to someone else who falls again into the same trap.
Who they? Okay.
It's basically like a game of hot potato.
It's a game.
You don't want to be the one holding the sack at the end. So each bank is selling these products to the other bank, and like, okay, come, you take this much, we take this much.
Basically, Sheikh, a big Ponzi scheme by the
It's a
government.
Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, massive.
Okay. Look, I understand that, right? But so this sounds to me like oppression, stealing, stuff that's not nice. But to
It's organized crime, bro.
organized crime. But I want to understand why Americans are now starting to see this as the single biggest cause of human suffering. That's a massive description. Because I'm saying you got fentanyl, right? You got zina, you got murders that take place in America. Like, how has this made the situation so bad that now we...
Why do you think those people on those streets are taking those drugs?
Wow.
Because they lost their homes.
Yeah.
They defaulted.
As the CEO of a highly influential Muslim company, would you like to know the single most important move that I made in 2025 that's helped me make more money than I ever have before with Allah's permission? Well, it was joining the Live by Design mentorship for CEOs by Coach Fawaz. When I heard that he helps scale the CEO's performance, which ultimately results in the business scaling, I was a bit skeptical. But subhanAllah, this program has transformed my deen, my health, my mental health, my family, my iman, and even my business. Coach Fawaz is now one of the 5 most important people that's impacted me in my life. So if you're a CEO of a decent sized company that's struggling to take his business to the next level, that next zero, that's where Coach Fawaz's Live by Design mentorship comes in. I'll leave the link to the application form below if you're interested. With that said, let's get back into the discussion.
You got nowhere to live.
I was recently in Vancouver.
And that right
And
there.
Vancouver, like West Coast, Vancouver, San Francisco, California, like West Coast, LA. This is like, it's called literally Zombieland, right?
Zombieland.
No, you will drive. I have videos. I'll show you. You'll drive and you literally, it's called the zombie fold, You basically
No
fold
way.
your back and you just like,
No, I've seen it, but it's called Zombieland?
it's like there's zombie
From
streets, basically.
Vancouver
Yeah, it's
down
like
to San
Vancouver.
Francisco.
The West Coast.
The West Coast, basically. So you'll drive on streets in, like, for
Did
example,
you
California.
download the Poop Tracker app, Sheikh? Did you have to download that?
No, I
What
didn't.
are you talking about?
There's a Poop Tracker app now
What?
that has gained traction.
Yeah.
It's human feces. So
Yeah.
the app will tell you, it's like Waze. The users will say, oh, I track the poop here, track the poop there. You just add.
It's crazy. But
From zombies.
but the worst thing is that you'll be driving for
Allah.
kilometers, bro.
I mean,
And you'll see people folded in half, just like this, just basically, literally like World War Z, if you've ever seen that type of movie, zombie, apocalypse, this kind of stuff, literally like that, right? I speak to some of them, I asked him, and that's exactly, I was just talking to one guy. They're just walking, and I just stopped him, and I said, what's going on? You guys are all right, blah, blah, blah. I was like, bro, I lost my home. Someone abducted my wife. I don't even know who she is. And I ended up on the street. By the way, they offered these drugs for free
To hook them.
to hook you.
Lead magnet.
Okay. And funny enough, the government provides safe doping sites where
What?
you can get safe needles so you don't spread.
I don't get it.
Taxpayers' money, by the way.
I don't get it though. They provide safe doping sites?
Even in the
Yes.
UK, they have that.
Yes. So safe sites where they don't share needles. The needles are provided by the government, taxpayers' money, obviously, and then people can go and.
But one second, make that make sense to me. I thought
There's no sense.
The theory
brother.
behind it that they say is that rather than doing it on the streets where it's dangerous,
Where you
where
get AIDS and blah blah
you can
blah.
spread AIDS and HIV through bad needles, and also you might be in danger yourself if you're wiped out.
But
Someone
then
might come
danger
and
anyway.
rob you and kill you.
that actually just
That's
makes it
the
more
thought
convenient
process.
to take the drugs.
That's what it is, though.
That
right?
makes it more
Again,
convenient.
A lot
That's
of
more
these things
encouraging.
make no sense. But going back to your point as to why people don't realize it, see, when you're offering someone the necessities housing, food, and so on. It's different than, oh, this is, fentanyl, this is cocaine, this is, right? People are, oh my God, I want that. But when someone catches you and like, bro, you need a house, you need food, you have to take care of your children, you're faster to ignore a lot of these sides, dismiss them as conspiracy theories, and you fall into it, man. Most people fall into it.
I came across a stat also in the US where, they mentioned only 5% of marriages break due to infidelity, but 70+% of marriages in America are breaking financial.
Yeah.
And
It's breaking the family home.
financial issues primarily, I can see riba being a primary culprit, right? So subhanAllah, this really is evil. And Allah Azza wa Jal, he told us, by the way, just as a matter of fact, in the Quran, Surah An-Nisa, Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned that the people who invented this riba thing were the Yahud. It's in the Quran, Surah An-Nisa. Allah musta'an, man, it's disgusting. So,
Well, who runs the banks?
Yeah, and it's even in their literature, right? The Merchant of Venus is all about.
Merchant of Venus. Yeah.
what is the Merchant of Venus?
So you can explain better.
It's basically a book. It's a play, Shakespeare.
By Shakespeare, yeah.
So it's around that topic. It's a good read.
It's about riba?
Well, basically, it addresses
Usury.
the whole thing. Usually, yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
I want
wow.
to Sheikh piggyback off of what Sheikh mentioned about the refinancing thing in America,
that's a good
right? So this is how they sold. Initially, the rates were very low in the COVID time, right? Then there was a rate hike from end of 2022. The way they sold at that time to the people, like you should still continue to buy homes, even though rates are very high, like 7%, 8%, was that you could always refinance later. So you date the rate, meaning the rate is not permanent. You could refinance it and buy it down, but marry the house. The house is permanent. What's happening now, the rate's not coming down. So again, for the first time in the last 17, 18 years, what has happened is renting is cheaper than mortgaging. Okay, so a median home in America, I think it's $465,000 home now. It will cost you $2,800 to mortgage. The same house is $2,000 to rent.
Okay.
So it's cheaper to rent than to own a house with mortgage. Okay. But even in that instance, what's happening is the home prices have gone up since COVID, 40 to 60%, but the wages have barely gone up 10%. And the inflation, the true inflation, we discussed it, even though they say 6%, 5%, 7%, true inflation is like 10%. Probably even higher.
Honestly, I think it's...
But even if we take 10%, right? If the inflation rate is 10% and we have 100K saved up, if I have $100,000 saved up today, in 7 years, the buying power will be halved.
Yeah.
Even if the inflation rate is 10%, half.
crazy.
So it's worth $50,000 just by sitting in the bank, while the bank is earning interest on that.
Insane.
So I think we did a podcast in detail on this topic,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
About how the middle class is being squeezed out.
We
and
can link in the description.
we'll put the link in the description. Sheikh, one thing I would just want to ask you here, because obviously you deal with money in America, as in you spent a decade dealing with money, investments, real estate, development projects, Allahumma barik. So this is obviously your area of expertise. You moved over here to Dubai.
Yes.
How does the real estate market differ here in the UAE in comparison to the US?
So the first biggest difference is in the United States, home buyers, 85% are mortgage buyers.
Okay.
Only 15% are cash. In UAE, 83% are cash buyers.
Wow.
17% are mortgage.
So
That's massive.
yeah, that's
It's
the
like reverse.
opposite. It's the opposite.
Pretty much the opposite.
So
big
the immediate question I
Huge
have for you
difference,
is why?
It's the culture, Sheikh. Even I'll tell you, and Brother Bakr can, over there in America, like financing a car is not a shame. Like you're proud, like finance my car. It's like no embarrassment.
You feel embarrassed if you buy a cheaper car, you feel embarrassed.
Yes, yeah. Here's like you'll get shamed if somebody is like, "What? You don't even own it?" Like, what? Just finance your car? Why? Why are you buying this if you can't afford it? It doesn't make sense to people. Even that 17% mortgage is not good. It should be 1%, right? Or less than 1%. But even that 17%, in America, you can buy a house with as little as 0% down payment.
That's insane.
So you have no skin in the game. Here, the minimum down payment is 40%. So likelihood, even we're not endorsing mortgage, but if somebody's getting a mortgage and putting 40% of their own money in the game, they're less likely to default, Sheikh.
Yep,
They're
yep,
less
yep.
likely to be foreclosed, and like it's 40% of my money stuck in the house versus how much? 0% of my money stuck in that. Literally 0%. You could get a house with 0% down payment in America. There are many programs, or 3.5% FHA, right? So these are the major differences why it's so controlled here. The valuation is controlled. It's not like free for all Nina, like no income or no ninja, no income, no job. Those don't. They don't exist here.
So for people who maybe have some savings, right? They're not like in poverty. They haven't dropped below the poverty line right now. In America, England, similar things are happening, right? I guess the Western world in general. What would your advice be to them? Because inflation is just going up. Everything's becoming more expensive. People want to get out of this trap,
Right.
right? What would your advice be?
Right.
How would someone get out of this trap? Because it seems like you just got to make more money.
Yes, and this is what also I think one thing I want to say here, Sheikh. The Ponzi scheme we mentioned, right? It's the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time. Just think about it. I was just thought about it. So even if you, let's say, just if we're looking at a commercial standpoint, not riba or non-riba standpoint, just commercial, pure a financial advisor standpoint, okay? When you lend money to the government for bonds, they pay you back 4.5% interest. And that's very high. They usually don't pay that high. Now they pay you back 4.5% interest rate. But they're robbing away from you 10% with inflation because they keep printing the money.
Of course.
Are you following, Chef? What big of a Ponzi scheme? Like, give me money at 4.5. As soon as you give me, I'll print more, and your money will be worth 10% less. So I'm taking, basically, the house always wins. If you play with the house always wins. What a Ponzi scheme. I didn't think about it, Sheikh. SubhanAllah.
Very important point, though. They don't teach these things in school.
Yes.
They will never educate anyone. Look at any courses, even
the
at
finance
university.
courses.
Even in university, forget school.
Economics.
They will
stuff.
not teach you this. They will not actually give you, because what we just talked about, that's just the way the system works. So they're lying to people. They're not going to tell you. By the way, this information can be verified.
Yes,
right?
of
A person
course.
needs to just do a bit of investigation, understand basics of economics. They can easily figure it out. But they will not teach you. On top of that, they're going to cover it through some sort of a wow thing where you're like, look at our system. It makes sense. And people fall in it every single day. You're talking about here, this is their speciality, supposedly. What about the regular people, man?
Sheikh, even in the episode that we did about the middle class being squeezed out, which I highly recommend everyone who's watching this that's actually interested in this topic to go and watch, I mentioned there that I think it was Argentina. They had like a 40% inflation rate.
Yes.
And inflation, when it once reaches that level, it's about to
Hyperinflation,
spiral out of control.
Yeah.
So what did they do? But they solved it the next day. What did they do?
They reduced inflation or cut their...
No, they fired the guys who did that, who previously calculating how inflation is calculated, and they hired new guys and told them, get it to 8%.
They changed the formula.
They changed the formula. So we measure inflation differently now. That's not inflation. Don't worry. This is inflation now.
Yeah.
Don't worry. We're at 8%, guys. We're all good. Overnight. And America did the same thing in 1980s.
Yeah.
They
It's like
changed
deja
the
vu.
way
We
they-
mentioned the same thing.
Yeah.
Like when you mentioned that, we mentioned
Same way you said about pedophilia, they're going to come and change it now and make
Yeah.
it something different. This is okay. It's MAP or minor attractive person. With inflation, they changed the way they measure it. So
Before we move on to the next segment, inshallah, I just want to mention to people, because the ones that I'm kind of worried about here are the ones who have engaged in riba. And maybe I'm not feeling it right now. My brothers and my sisters, I mean this with utmost love, but you have committed a filthy crime, right? Please don't be offended. But you've committed a crime that Allah Azza wa Jal, He declares war on such people. Allah says, يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وذروا ما بقي من الربا إن كنتم مؤمنين فإن لم تفعلوا فأذنوا بحرب من الله ورسوله. Allah said, if you fear Allah, leave off the riba if you're a believer. Fear Allah, leave off if you're a believer. Allah is bringing your iman into question. He said, if you don't, Allah declares war on you. Guys, you know, it reminds me in the Quran where Allah Azza wa Jal talks about those who, they ignored the ayat of Allah. Allah told them not to do this. They said, you know, we're going to do it anyway. Allah said, okay, فتحنا عليهم أبواب كل شيء حتى إذا فرحوا بما أوتوا. Allah said, so then we opened the doors to them for what they wanted. You wanted the car on finance and the degree on mortgage, and you wanted to get the loan to pay for the wedding and the mahar, and you wanted to get the mortgage to pay for this house. Okay, no worries. You have children now, you send your children into uni, they're going through riba. 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, Allah says, and you're happy, having fun. You're thinking, this is it, I've made it. أَخَذْنَاهُمْ بَغْتَةً. Allah says, I snatched them suddenly. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I'm saying, guys, I remember I asked a sheikh, many, many years ago, actually Sheikh Abdul Rahman Hassan, I asked him, I said, there are people who have taken university loan now. What do they do? And look at the mercy of your Lord. They've taken the loan. They've given the money. They've taken the money. They've done it. He said, just tell them to repent. It's time to repent. Tell them to repent and Allah forgives all sins. But that repentance means you can't do it again. And if you're paying off something, pay it off quickly. Prioritize paying it off. Point being is that Allah Azza wa Jal will accept your repentance if it's sincere, genuine remorse is there, but you got to stop now. Even though you've committed these crimes and you've done it, Allah Azza wa Jal is prepared to forgive you, subhanahu wa ta'ala.
But Sheikh so-and-so says, okay,
That's
bro,
what I was going to say. And that's what infuriates me the most.
there's a fatwa. Where are we? I need to question that.
That's
brother.
what Hasnain
They're
even-
very qualified, mashallah, big sheikhs, ya akhi,
Said that, no.
saying there's durura, there's, maslaha.
The first house is okay.
Yes.
No,
First
do
house.
you remember?
I just had a podcast.
Did you see the video we just posted, Sheikh, on the Muslim Money Show? So it's not the first house only, Sheikh.
And the video's gone viral, by the way.
There's about to
Second
be.
house and the third house.
Did you see it, Sheikh?
It is, yeah.
Okay, so there's about to be a fatwa dropped in America. So the first house is allowed. It's been there since the 90s, that fatwa. Yeah, it's old. The new fatwa is, it's not first, second, third. Like any homes,
You can invest, you can use
you
it.
can use riba to do anything. It's a darura now.
Yes.
It's going to be an official, reputable fatwa. It's
When are
not
they
like
going to release it? I think
anytime.
September.
They're going to drop it
I
in.
think look at August. Like August is not a good time to release these.
They're going to
products.
drop it anytime,
Release
Sheikh.
it in
And somebody
September.
mentioned in the comment, it's already dropped, but I didn't find it online. Maybe the talks are already out, but
Because even look, I had the Road to Hijrah episode just now with Hasnain, and he mentioned that at like a few years ago, he was looking at getting into riba. He was looking at getting a loan, sorry, not a loan, a mortgage. He really wanted to get a mortgage in a particular area in Birmingham or wherever else it might be. And he went and he asked, and he got a fatwa from a guy saying that, yeah, it's fine. And but look what he said. He said, I heard it. I was so happy that I could do it because my heart, something just didn't feel right.
Allah.
I felt to myself, this is wrong.
استفت قلبك.
And then he went and then he looked into it a bit more and in the end he left it. Now, actually, the guy's done hijrah he recently moved to Al Zahia, one
got
of the
a
best
villa.
villa communities in Sharjah,
Barak.
without getting a mortgage.
That's the thing, Sheikh. It's 100% possible. That's what I don't get. What kind of darura they're talking about? I have no idea.
And
They're in a wrong algorithm, Sheikh. They don't
look,
meet these people
I-
that are so successful without riba.
I really don't want to get into this right now, but just to make people understand, just to make people understand, yeah. There's something in our religion called maqasid sharia, right?
Yes,
I really don't want to go into this, and I don't want to confuse people. or go
Long,
for tangent,
long
but-
discussion.
Say that again.
Long discussion.
Yeah, just because people were wondering why does fatwa come? You don't realize. You see how we don't realize how deep it goes with the Jeffrey Epstein thing, bro. It goes deep even when it comes to
yeah.
fatwa. So there is something in the religion called maqasid sharia, right? Objectives of the sharia. The sharia come to protect primarily 5 things, right? Your religion, number 1, your life, your wealth, your
mind.
honor, and your mind, your sanity, right? طيب. So religion comes to protect what? Your wealth. These guys, the way that they interpret the and the ultimate objective of the why the religion came here is what? Is tawheed.
Yes,
right?
of
It's
course,
to protect the religion, protect the religion of Islam. So these guys believe that when Allah Azza wa Jalla "Ma khalaqtu al-jinna wal-insa illa liya'budun," Allah Azza wa Jalla created you to worship Him. They believe that this means the only way to worship Allah Azza wa Jalla is by having. I'm skipping so much here, but it's having positions of authority on the earth. And you can't have positions of authority if you don't have big pockets. So the only way to have big pockets is, to play the game sometimes. So the same way how, for example, it's to preserve your life,
Necessity.
it's allowed for you to eat a pig. If there's nothing left for you to eat except a pig, because you're going to die.
that's the logic
They
they
say, so
use.
in order for you to survive as a Muslim on this earth, you have to play the game, which means you have to, out of necessity, take the loan. But you know how jahil this is? Because Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala said that half of fiqh is knowing the sharia and the other half is knowing the reality. They don't even know the reality of what their path is in fatwa on.
That's how.
So you don't even understand how the economy works. Because as you just explained,
it's a
bro, it
fallacy.
actually makes you poor.
It's a fallacy.
It makes you poor. You don't even understand the thing you're giving hukum fatwa on. So don't want to go into that.
May Allah deal with these people the way they deserve to be dealt.
Or if they were sincere, guide them and bring them back. And if they play
The way they deserve.
And if they
They
play in the
deserve-
game, may Allah deal with them. If they play in the game, may Allah deal with them.
I mean,
Yeah? Because even how my man said, the clip that I showed earlier, he said, bro, you guys are waving credit cards in front of people like crack. That's a crazy analogy, Like, bro, even me, I keep getting messages from,
Yeah.
Oi,
Thanks,
credit
yeah.
card?
And then what do they do?
Free
They say
money.
you'll get 100,000 points Emirates. You can fly business class a couple of times.
Right.
You get 200,000 Marriott points. You can stay in a nice Ritz-Carlton and this and that one. They spice it up, sweeten it
Beautify
up,
it.
make it something that's so beautified. And unfortunately, bro, you see so many people. Even like I made a video on my Instagram a while back saying that. Alhamdulillah, I've flown business class many times. I've never once in my life paid full price. There's always hacks, the Emirates you can call, they got promotional discount upgrades, you can make bids and all these things. And so many people, and I said, unfortunately, a lot of people, they use credit cards. Credit cards, in the comments, people go crazy, bro. How can you say credit cards are haram? This and that,
look at that,
blah,
man.
blah, blah, blah. You get so many benefits from it and this and that one. You always pay it off on time. And you pay it off on time up until today, but a day might come where you can't pay it off.
You can't.
You think those guys that are on the streets doing fentanyl, crack zombies, ever thought a day was going to come that they were going to be there? Do you think they would have ever even signed that paper if they ever even thought for a second, I'm going to lose my wife? My wife got abducted. I lost my house. Do you think he would have ever signed that paper if he thought
And
it
you know
was
what's
possible?
important, Hassan? You know when it comes to a disbeliever,
I think it's arrogance to believe that you're never going to fall behind on a credit card payment.
100%. But you know one thing, you know one thing that's deep, bro. You know when it comes to disbelievers, bro, Allah doesn't care about them. If Allah Azza wa Jal cared for the disbeliever, He wouldn't have even given him a cup of water to drink. As for you, Muslim, Allah Azza wa Jal actually cares about you, which means He might actually just unleash His wrath on you in hopes that you will come back. Sometimes you won't come back, but that wrath, you want to experience it all. And the way Allah Azza wa Jal does it with sometimes He might let you enjoy it, as we said, and then it will come at the worst moment. Wallahi, I know someone, subhanAllah, who, wallah, Allah favored them. Allah Azza wa Jal favored them. And I think they took a riba loan. And I remember when I heard this, I was like, I was disgusted. And I don't mean this from a point of like, I'm on my high horse. No, like genuinely, I was confused. I was like, bro, Allah actually took care of you, bro. And he was like, oh yeah, I needed it right now to, I guess as a cash flow issue. I said, bro, say Allah. In my mind, I don't mean to over dramatize it, but it's like I felt the curse of Allah coming down. It's like I could see it, right? Like it just felt so intense in the moment. Actually, I never saw someone who was so high fall flat on their nose so fast.
Allah.
So fast. Okay, let me tell you a secret. I have access to some of the greatest Muslim entrepreneurs and investors in the world that are alive today. And I've been thinking long and hard about how to give you a personalized experience with them. Finally, my team, alhamdulillah, has come up with a solution. Starting from today, every week, you will get your questions on scaling your business and halal investments answered by the best Muslim entrepreneurs and investors, inshallah ta'ala. Think of it like a podcast straight to your email inbox. Each email will give you simple but powerful insights on how to make more halal money. If you're interested, just subscribe at the link below, inshallah ta'ala. It's free. طيب, look, moving on to the next topic, inshallah ta'ala. So, the West doesn't just take your money away through riba, it also takes your children away. So, because what's going on recently in the West, in the world of
You
our
see
children
this all the time, everywhere. In fact, on this point, I was doing a podcast just now with Hassanin, as I mentioned, the road to Hijrah, inshallah. And he told me that I can't remember if he said France, Germany, or one of those European countries, as part of their schooling now, part of sex education, they make 7-year-old boys and girls get naked in front of each other so they can study each other's bodies. So a boy and a girl will go to the toilet into a cubicle alone. 7-year-old girl, 7-year-old boy. They'll be made to strip completely naked, and the boy will look at the girl's private parts and see what her body looks
But
like.
what they also did is they brought in adults for these 7-year-olds to look at. So adults would come in the classroom naked, and then they would have a discussion about the private parts and so on.
Why is it that a lot of this depravity comes from France?
It's not only, it's a lot of the Scandinavian countries are doing that.
I personally have an experience with France. They insulted the messenger, sallallahu
Many times.
They insulted the messenger, and that I don't want to go into it right now, but that crime is even Israel hasn't committed that crime. Let's just say it like that.
That country does something to you. I don't know. It corrupts you to a way where, we have so many Muslims. 10% of that country is Muslim, bro.
In France.
Yeah. Imagine
you can't even tell. Some of them, not many, all of them.
Look at the way they're behaving, right? You know this whole PSG, Paris Saint-Germain victory that
what is that?
Basically, one of the football teams won the Champions League.
PSG?
Right?
Oh, okay.
Paris Saint-Germain, right?
Yeah.
They won and they lit the country up pretty much.
Fire. They set fire to cars, buildings.
A lot of the people are Muslim, man. A lot of the people who are doing this stuff was.
But Sheikh, you know,
Country does something to you, bro.
but the
I don't know.
depravity though. Like I was coming back to I was 11 years old and I went to the hotel. We went in the hotel, just flicking through the channels like TV channels, and there's pornography.
Yeah.
But I'm saying in daylight. It wasn't even the night time. It was
Well, I just recently visited one of the Scandinavian.
that was the
countries.
first time I ever saw any filth. Like as it was thrown onto me.
Bro, they had sex toys in the airport, man.
had what?
Just recently,
They
I
had
took
what?
a video of sex toys in the airport.
I said duty free.
Dude free, yeah, but only for women.
Don't pay VAT.
Only for women?
Only for women, yes.
Why?
They know if they make the women depraved, the men will follow.
The sex toys for guys are no fun, bro.
Oh, okay.
Women can really, they know exactly who they're targeting, brother.
So there was a video that went viral recently, right?
There's been so many, bro. So many occasions where, and you see Muslims like doing balloons while they're driving and you have an accident and crash and, people actually died through these accidents and balloons now become so common when they're doing it. There's one in particular where there was a hijabi sister. She was parked up like in a dodgy way on the road, half on the road, half on the pavement. And she was just doing balloons in a car and there was like 20 canisters in the passenger seat. So either she was dealing it or like she was
She's a nitty.
She was a nitty. But this is a sister in hijab. And like, it's weird, because you see brothers with beards and thobes and all, but the sister, it just hits a different level, bro. So, and it's like, because you have ghira for your sisters, right? Obviously, you have ghira and love for your brothers as well. But with sisters, you feel that like a protective nature over a sister, like any Muslim sister ever in the world. Like, you feel a protective nature over her. And to see that, it's just like, how did we get to this place? And yeah, it's just like it's shocking.
What we don't realize is that that's actually a massive milestone for our enemies. It's something that many you might remember is when France banned the niqab publicly.
2018, I think.
Hijab or
Before
niqab?
the niqab.
They banned the hijab as well, right?
No, but niqab before that, 2011,
niqab was-
2012,
yeah,
something like that.
earlier.
So I remember 2013, I think it was actually. It was the year I got married. And there's a brother, I'm going to introduce you guys to him. He's an academic, mashallah. He has a master's from LSE. He's also a very strong student of knowledge, Allah Barik. And this guy's a very, very intelligent brother. I remember he said something to me back then. He said, Imran, when you look at the hijab, yeah, of the Muslim woman, that's like one of the last remaining flags of the Muslims.
Yes.
I guess it's a symbol, the symbol of Islam. Yeah. He said, secularism is the notion of secularism, as in, it's like, bro, they're so angry at the Muslim woman. They're like, bro, we did everything to take your clothes off. We sold it to you. We brought you up in school where it was understood. We bullied you for it. We did everything to make it so hard for you. We sensationalized the woman who doesn't. Made it hard for you to get a man. We did whatever we can to strip you from it. But you still wear your hijab? Because that is one of the most scariest things for secularism, because it shows that despite all of that, you're that defiant to our culture and our law and everything. Because so the hijabi woman, the real hijabi woman, not the
Real
hijabi woman. No makeup, no tight clothes, right? Properly covered head to toe. Because she is the biggest threat. She's one of the biggest threats from that angle, because she shows that your stuff's not working. It's a symbol of iman, akhi.
But how many women can we say are wearing real hijab, bro? Because see, the enemy succeeded at one thing.
Yeah.
They couldn't take it off. So what they done is they fetishized it.
They fetishized it, right?
Right. And they succeeded very well.
But what I'm saying is that now we've got to the point where some sisters still keep the hijab on, right? Well, this thing you're telling me is not new. 4 or 5 years ago, I remember a good friend of mine from Hounslow, he told me there's a sister that wears abaya and jilbab, bro. She wears jilbab and she goes country, bro. All right? Which, for those are not where country is like the countryside where you sell drugs. Yeah, she goes country, sells drugs. And the reason why she does that is because you respect the hijab.
There's girls who do OnlyFans, bro. Muslim women who do OnlyFans.
A hijabi?
Yes.
That's not mad.
Niqabis.
What?
Yes.
But one second, are they niqabis or are they doing that because that's like a...
Well, they're covering obviously their face, but it's a fetishization. It's so many of them, by the way.
That's a mad thing, bro.
So many sisters are debating it as well, whether they should do it or not.
And look,
it makes a lot of money.
That's 100% wrong. I'm saying they're getting paid for it. I'm saying their sisters, unfortunately, doing it for free.
Yeah.
They're not getting anything out of it.
I guess
They're
that's
getting
the way
an
of looking
STD
at
out
it.
of it. Like,
So what's the message, Sam, to the people here?
It's scary, Sheikh.
You took your daughters out the US.
Yeah,
I
and
did that to my kid.
my kids were going to it, Sheikh would relate more. their 6 and 4 daughters. They were going to Islamic private school, Montessori school, Islamic private. So that's the best option you could give your daughters too. They have to get educated, right? They have to go to. So now, even from there, the principal, the school, Muslim lady is not wearing hijab. So my wife and I, the first day is like, what? So there's like 2 options in Michigan. I'm not going to name the names. One was wearing hijab and the other wasn't. Unfortunately, we had to give to the one not wearing hijab because that one was 2 years waiting list, understandably, because we were like,
She wears hijab.
like, okay, you know?
Oh, very.
All right. And then you go, when you're going to pick up your kids, subhanAllah, like I stopped going to pick up my kids by design because it's like unbelievable. None of the parents are wearing hijab, and not only not wearing hijab, but not even modest. There's one thing not wearing hijab and being modest in other sense, but not being modest at all. And you're coming to pick up. So it became like a rich man's country club. Like, I send my kids to so-and-so private school, Montessori school, and Islamic too, Islamic private school. So it's like a business card. It's like a flex, right? You pulling up with all these cars and fancy stuff, immodest clothing and networking after the pickup, like a woman talking to men right in front of the school. Just, I used to feel so awkward. So I stopped going to pick them up. But that's the situation. And that's like the best option, I would say, like for a regular school, not madrasa. But this is the condition of the school, the Islamic private school.
But I want to just interject something, not to create fitna, because my background's in education.
Of course, that's why yeah.
And I've dealt with many, many schools. You see, the du'at in the States, not only have they not done their job properly, a lot of them, but they've actually caused the problems. Okay? They've actually caused these problems. Because for them, you know what, I've sat with some of them, and they say, bro, people are leaving Islam. We need to open it up more and make it more accessible. Let them talk in front of the school. Why is it so bad? The Prophet ﷺ talked to some women. Okay, fine. Take it to the next level, Let them not wear, like at least they're still Muslim. Let them celebrate and play, and do Christmas whatever, carols, so whatever things, right, at the end of the year and whatnot. Mm-hmm. At least they're not, committing this and that.
Until it becomes so watered down.
You can't recognize anymore, bro.
You can't recognize anymore.
So for their minds, like I was recently sat with one of these very popular ones, right? Very, one of the main ones anyway. And he was having beef with me, like I made some comment. Whatever, we know each other from, And he's like, bro, you don't understand what we're doing here. We're trying to keep people in Islam. And my point was like, but it's not your job to keep people into Islam. It's your job to إِنَّمَا عَلَيْكَ الْبَلَاغُ وَعَلَيْنَا الْحِسَابُ.
Allah.
That's
Translate
it.
that, Sheikh. Translate that, please.
Allah says that to you is to convey, and to us, Allah is saying, to hold accountable.
Yes, hold accountable.
It's not you. Like and the one thing that shocked me with this person is that he believed that he's some sort of a revivalist or, like
you find that's very common.
He believes himself. He had this high, assessment of himself that he's actually doing something amazing, right? And I was like, man, like you're causing the problems, bro. Right? Because in the end of the day, look, I'm not saying that we have to like tighten the deen, but we have to stay within
the circle.
What Allah has allowed. And there's some leeway, but the leeway is there, is defined.
Can I also mention, I also believe the other side have a big fault as well, which is that they sometimes made the religion seem too tough.
Yeah, I agree with
that. Sheikh Al-Albani said, right? He said, the truth is already hard for people to accept. Don't make it hard.
Don't make it hard.
No, I agree, 100%.
Like, for example, there's some things that, and again, to mention examples would just create fitna right now, but one thing I will say is that our religion is easy. Now, when you make the things that are easy tough, then that extremism breeds extremism, right? So the other guys are going to start stretching the boundary of the ease.
100%.
And it's honestly, our religion is not that hard, man. It's really not that hard. So don't go extreme in limiting people from things that they can do, and don't go extreme the other way either.
Yeah.
So, as you said, this thing's not that uncommon that I mentioned about the balloons that's kind of happening for a long time, but the real reason to add this into this as a talking point is came to my attention that there's like a Western dating show, right? It's very like promiscuous stuff.
We won't mention the name.
Won't mention the name, but the biggest and most promiscuous person that was on it this year was a Muslim sister. going around, sleeping around in bikini.
I'm
you
not
know, like
shocked or anything like that.
Muslim, and this is and what's shocking for me is I think how many steps have to have, like how many things must have fallen in that process for you to end up there. Because let's just say you don't fear Allah. Okay, no problem. If you don't fear Allah, no problem. I mean, no, astaghfirullah. It's not no problem. It's a huge problem. Does that mean your family's okay with it? If like surely out of the fear of your family, you would like or is that gone now?
Broken family, bro.
Or possibly
Even
it's a
if
broken
it's not,
family,
bro.
or the family we're progressive. We've moved forward.
What can the family do, akhi, in this country or in a country where, okay, let's say a girl decides to do that. Bro, like if my daughter decides to do something, no matter how much I've given her, no matter how much I taught her, and people need to understand this. Why are we always picking on sisters? You know, I need people to understand this. I know they have problems with us talking about women. You see it in some of the comments that people say. I don't really read the comments. People will send me, oh, look what this person said. And I'm like, next, right? Or keep it in the comments. It's because it's so much easier by the nature of the woman for her to be convinced of a certain thing. Let's not use the word corrupted, but convinced. With guys, we're a little bit stubborn in everything, by the way. Okay. It's even harder to bring, by the way, guys to Islam. Okay. That's why women convert to Islam more. Okay. But it's also, even once they're in Islam, it's easy to twist them. Okay. Guys, we're a bit tougher. We're stubborn, good and bad about it. So with women, it's much easier. If you look at Muslim women, just do a study on social media, covered, not covered, whatever, the ones that have a lot of following, huge following, and compare. And we're talking here about hijab. Okay, not forget about the non-hijabis. Let's just go for hijab and niqab and a lot of the big following. And hijab, I mean cover here. Now I'm going to talk about the real hijab. What are you preaching or talking about? Like, what benefit are you bringing to the ummah? No, honestly, I want to understand, like, what are you talking about? Some niqabis now, they're putting some thingies around their ears and some flowers. There was one niqabi, she's putting flowers and around her niqab, like hanging flowers from each side of the ear.
Like sideburns.
Yes, it's just weird things that they're doing, bro. Like, what are you doing? What are you adding to the ummah? What is your da'wah about? What is your channel about? Yes, there are a few sisters that we can count that they're bringing some benefit, but even that could be maybe a little bit
Bring
debated.
benefit to your children, man.
Huh?
Bring benefit to your children.
Right. They don't want to. So, but the ones that have a lot of following, these sheikhas, these so-called da'iyas and so on, famous ones from the States, from the UK. What are you doing? What are you talking about? What are you compromising? This is my question to them. What have you brought new to the table, or something, a benefit to the ummah? Or, because you're sitting there with your makeup, with your twisting your voice and all that, and I know guys who come to me, bro. I'm telling you, look, let me tell you straight up, bro. The guy's like, brother Gabriel, assalamu alaikum, bro. I'm doing something when I watch these videos. You know what I'm saying?
Sheikh, a brother I know. This is.
He's like, I'm not gonna spare any one of them, brother. I'm sorry to say that. He says.
As in, what do you mean? He's doing things to himself.
He's gonna do things to himself, and he doesn't spare anyone, bro. It doesn't matter. She talks about Allah and His Messenger. He's like, I'm not even hearing what they're saying. All I'm seeing is a religious woman,
And
somehow covered,
plays
looks
with
very
himself.
pretty. It's a big fitna. It's a fetish, and I'm just, like, I know women are gonna say, you guys are dirty, this and that. Yes, that's how men are. You need to understand that that's how men are. Now, of course, inshallah, there's gonna be some tweaking there, because the Sharia comes and protects that, right? Okay, وَعَلَمُ أَنَّ اللَّهَ يَحُولُ بَيْنَ الْمَرْءِ وَقَلْبِهِ,
No.
and Allah will come between a man and his heart. But if you want to go to the asl of the man, yes, that's how we are.
Yeah, the fitna of the man is the woman. The fitna of the
Allah
woman is the
limited
dunya.
us to 4, right? As in,
Alhamdulillah,
as in
but-
it was men
So-
were limited to 4.
Remove Islam, bro, from people, and the little taqwa that we have, bro, shoot.
Epstein's.
Bro,
That's
إذا
where
لم
they come
تستحي فاصنع ما شئت.
Thing is, Epstein's off his fitra though, because then they're gonna
Nah, he's off. I'm talking about fitra, bro.
Yeah,
A guy,
okay.
when he sees a woman, bro,
on his fitra.
okay, on his fitra, and he doesn't fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's over,
So
bro.
they did a study. This is over 10 years ago. I remember seeing this, where they showed men pictures of women and pictures of meat, like raw meat, and it activated the same part of their brain. So men just see them as meat. The point they wanted to get at by bringing this up is that
Hijrah.
guys, hijrah, man. You could do whatever you want, bro, to solve this, but bro, you got to move to a Muslim country, broski. As in,
And
by
no
the-
one's saying Muslim countries are perfect.
and right, and I just want to mention this because I remember speaking to a sheikh of mine. There was a particular Muslim country I was looking to move into many years ago, and I saw a couple of things that made me feel a bit uncomfortable. And I remember I said something to my sheikh. I said, Sheikh, you know, there's issues, and he said, you know what, Imran, you're right, there are. But shall I tell you why I'm here? It's because here I can raise my kids in a way that I want without other powers getting involved.
Government.
Because they won't care. They say just don't break the law.
Yeah.
And you can raise your kids in a modest way upon deen. Just don't break the law, brother. So he's like, bro, but you can't do that in the West. Because in the West, you're being attacked from every angle.
Even if you're homeschooling, they'll come and check.
yeah,
Have you taught
yeah.
this? Have you taught this? Have you taught this?
Akhi, even homeschool, bro, how long are you going to keep your kids at home? Because as a matter of fact, you need your kids to interact socially.
Yeah.
Akhi, do you know, like, in madrasas what happened? There's an Islamic school in UK. I know a brother who's a drug dealer. Yeah, alhamdulillah, as there was a guide him now. But he said, bro, I came and gave a lecture in this school when they were in year 7. I think it was again over a decade ago. He's like, I was there in year 7. And I'm looking at what he's become. A drug dealer, akhi. Stab wounds all over his hand. So, many of us were like this, bro. In fact, the guys from the boys' Islamic girls' school would go, Islamic school would go to the girls' Islamic school, and they would connect with each other. Do you know what I'm saying? Akhi, there's a brother I know who learned masturbation in madrasa. There's a father who came to me and said, in this madrasa, which was actually the same madrasa I went to as a kid, he said to me, you know what, bro? There's a kid selling drugs to the kids in the madrasa. So I'm saying, bro, you just got to get out of that environment, bro. You can't escape it, broski. You have to come to a Muslim country. And I fear Allah, man. Allah says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا وَقُودُهَا النَّاسُ وَالْحِجَارَةُ. Allah says, oh, you who believe, save yourselves and your family members from the hellfire. And then Allah says, its fuel is men and stones. Bro, your son, your daughter, just picture them, not burning in hell, but being the fuel that burns hell.
It's fine.
Like, this is how tormenting the punishment in hellfire is, that you are punished by being burned, but you're also double punished because you are the fuel that causes yourself to burn. Your daughter that you love so much, Asma, Zainab, Muhammad, Ali, your children, your son, right now imagine them burning in hellfire. And they are the fuel. And guess what? They're the fuel that burns you. Because if your kids end up in hell because of what? Your misdeeds, your kids are the fuel that burns you, and you're the fuel that burns them back, bruv.
Allah.
So this is scary, man. Move to a Muslim country.
Allah protect.
You need to figure out a way to do it. You need to figure out fast, because the water level's rising. It's rising in the West. It's rising here as well, but the point is here is lower. If you're a grown adult, even if you don't know how to swim, if you're in a kid's pool and the water's up to your ankles, you're not drowning. You can help others.
Wallahi, there's, again, we have a brother, Abu Lahya, he's got this program called IMA, right? And I'm just saying this purely just for the benefit. He's teaching people how to make money online. Mm-hmm. And Allah Barik, he's got over 90% success rate. And I'm seeing 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old brothers that are making money now able to do hijrah.
Wow, Allah Mubarak.
18, 19-year-old. And wallahi, it's not one, it's not two, it's not rare, it's a machine. Guys go into the program, they come out with money. They go into the program, they come out with money. Allah Barik. They come out with money. And there's guys making $100,000 a month, right? That's like extreme. Like, then the lower end is $10,000 a month, and everything in between. And bro, it's possible. Do you know what I'm saying? If you don't know how to make money to be able to move, you could do that. Or if, for example, you've got money, you've got savings, you can invest with a man like Sam, brother here, mashallah, tabarakallah, over a long period of time, get some passive income. My point is, there's ways out. No excuses now. There's ways out. And can I be honest with you? Like, alhamdulillah, Allah Azza wa Jalla gives us tawfiq to be able to move to a place where there's a degree of comfort. But does that mean that if you don't have the money to be able to live comfortably, hijrah still not wajib on you? But there's countries you can go to where, like Pakistan, akhi billah alayk, it's not the most ideal place, the most comfortable place to live, but akhi wallahi, on a poor man's wage in the UK, you can live like a king in Pakistan. Villas, like a king, akhi. Like a king.
Deserve your deen more.
Like a king, akhi. Yeah, I'm saying, but if the deen, is not really your priority, But you can, Wallah uqsimu billahi azza wa jalla, you can live a better quality life. طيب, with that said, we're going to conclude on this next point, inshallah ta'ala. Elon Musk, man. Interesting because...
Did you start the book?
Say that again?
Did you start?
I haven't started the book. But he's recently started his own political party, right? But before we go into that, Sheikh, you said something that's been ringing in my head since you said it to me.
What was that?
You said he's our long-term enemy.
Oh, yes, I texted you.
Explain, because when you said that to me, straight away I started connecting dots in my head.
Right.
And I was like, oof. But you break that down to me. And I know you don't mean that in like an adversarial way.
No,
right?
not at all.
But what's Elon Musk's story and why is it that Muslims need to start understanding this guy right now?
Yes, because I think powerful enemies bring the best out of you. All the causes and the missions, if we look at it in the past, Sheikh, they all had powerful enemies, and that brought the best out of the hero, right? So a man like Elon Musk, there was a danger. I think one of the most dangerous tweet he had, he deleted it afterwards and did not get that much traction, but I found it the most dangerous tweet. So basically he said, Trump has 3 more years left. I have 40. Okay. What he's saying is that I'm the guy you guys need to listen to. I'm the guy you guys need to follow. Like he's talking to the Republicans, the mega crowd and everything. And now 2025, Elon Musk has become a news for us, right? But, the delayed gratification and the planting of seeds, when he got paid, I think in the early 2000s, when he exited out of PayPal, he got paid $175 million. He reinvested it all back to SpaceX and Tesla. Nobody knew his name back then. How many of us, first of all, can build a company where our exit is with other partners involved, even our personal exit is $175 million, number one. Number two, after getting that money, like literally like bank transfer, $175 million. After getting there, like, bro, I'm going to sleep on the couch again tomorrow. Nothing has changed for me. I'm putting it all back into SpaceX and Tesla, right? Third point is when you aim, and Elon Musk is I was just sharing it with my daughter, actually, an example, like literally a man that we don't agree with. But because I feel like he has shot for the Mars, literally, to populate Mars, what he's settling on is making the current president of the United States and forming another party when this president he had a fallout with.
Having complete control of one of the biggest media platforms in the world right now.
X.
Not just that, satellites, man.
Yeah.
Satellites.
He
Man's
did that-
providing internet.
Internet even to Bangladesh when there was that whole thing with Sheikh Hasina, the whole country was dark. He provided internet to Bangladesh, to Russia, to Ukraine, to Israel, to Palestine.
Satellites.
Yeah.
Through satellites.
Do you know how dangerous that is?
And he's the richest man in the world.
Richest man in the world, far from the second richest guy.
So
But his I saw there was a graph. It was showing.
before if I could just sorry, if I go on. No, and the point here is that he's an open
Enemy.
enemy of Islam.
He does not like Muslims.
I'm not saying that. He said openly, there's a tweet where I said Islam is the problem. Literally, Islam is the problem.
And he said Islam is not compatible with West.
So here is a guy who is in this position and he's made his animosity towards Islam very clear. But sorry,
I saw it was like a table. It showed like the richest people in the world, the change of their net worth, and it was the point of it was to highlight that everyone had gone down, but Warren Buffett was the only one that went up. Well, what other people were in the comments, people were saying, but forget looking at Warren Buffett in the green, the rest are all in red. Elon Musk's red was higher than most of the other guys on the list.
Yeah.
The reduction in his net worth was higher than most of the other guys on the list, entire net worth.
Yes.
Wow.
So that gives you an idea of the scope of how
$500
far ahead he
billion
is.
guy,
Yeah.
$500 billion. One
so,
man.
so what's the message here, Sheikh, for the people?
The message, Sheikh, is I think we can always complain, and I hate to complain about Elon Musk, right? It's so much easier to complain and just say, oh, look what he's doing. He's buying X. He said this, he said that. It's not only Elon Musk. It's about all of the above, all of the above guys. We even complained about Tucker at one point when he was at Fox News. Now we're so happy he's out. Like, we're just looking at other people to come and save us. It's just so embarrassing for me to see that we are so happy. Even by, from a remote distance, like, oh, this person said something positive about Islam or alluded to something positive. We're all so happy. Why? We should be at a position
We should be the ones
You-
providing alternatives, taking action ourselves.
Absolutely. And a conversation I had with my sheikh And whenever there's something happening, in the world that affects Muslims, like Gaza and whatnot, and so on and so forth, I remember he repeated something to me very often. He said it recently again with this whole thing with the, when there was this issue happening between the Persians and the Zionists. And I said, Sheikh, what's your view on this? Just like, what's your take on it? And he was like, bro, I have no take on it. It's got nothing to do with me. He says, it's got nothing to do with me. He goes, you know why? He goes, if the Zionists win, is that going to be beneficial for us?
No.
He goes, and if the Persians win, are they going to cut us a favor? They have their own agenda. They have their own thing that constitutionally they've mentioned what they want to do. They want to, they want to expand their revolution, across the Muslim world. They want to do that because it has no bearing on us. He goes, rather, this should only make us cry tears of sadness and remorse. Because where's our project? Because we have no project. He goes, we have no project like that. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think that's really what I took from it when you mentioned that Elon Musk now has got his own party. Bro, what's your project?
Yes.
Build.
I understand that point, but isn't there surely an element of lesser of two evils?
He did mention that. He said, but really and truly, even lesser.
When was it the Romans and the Persians were fighting at the time of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam?
But the point that he was mentioning is that people are getting overly excited as if this is a savior. No. It wasn't that.
Okay,
it wasn't the
cool.
case at all.
100%.
It's that you have to do your own thing. As you said, no one's coming.
Even we mentioned that.
Save you.
100%.
And I think the powerful thing here is that whenever we look at these, powers that be, right? Elon Musk and this, that, and you kind of feel so overwhelmed by $500 billion man. Like America, like the biggest military in the world. Bro, we don't.
He's a normal guy. How many
These guys
years?
control the media. It's not even that.
But I'm saying, how many years did it take him to build that? 20, 25, 30?
Irrespective, right? When you look at something like that, it seems so mammoth, right? In order for us to then do our own thing. And by the way, look at China. China's doing a fantastic job by building their own project. They realize, and bro, if you look at China in the 1980s, 1990s, bro, early 1990s, bro, it was in poverty, broski. Yeah. Like, look what they did. They said, all right, cool. You don't want to, we're going to make WeChat. We're going to make our own social media. But then what happens when you have your own social media? You have to download it on a phone. So we make our own hardware. How are we? We've got our own phone now. And what? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, as in, they created their own infrastructure.
They were thinking in decades.
They were thinking decades. And here's the thing, right? Number one, we have short-term thinking. My man's saying, look, 40 years, bro. Look what I'm going to do.
Yep.
I'm going to do something in 40 years.
Exactly the point, Sheikh.
But what also we don't realize that, and this is the benefit that's practical, I think people can take out of this, which is that when you look at such overwhelming competition, you think of just dealing with it head on. And head on is never the way. You should always take the indirect approach. Because through the indirect approach and the long game, akhi, there's, I won't say infinite, but akhi, there's a multiplicity of ways to win. I'll just share a quick story. So, I actually made a video about this on my channel. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a private investigator. Because there was this cartoon called Basil the Great Mouse Detective.
The what?
Basil the Great Mouse Detective.
Great Mouse Detective.
Yeah. It was basically a mouse that was, it was a play of Sherlock Holmes. So it was a cartoon. I watched it so many times. I was amazed. This guy just solves all these mysteries. طيب, anyway, so what's the next level? Sherlock Holmes. You can only watch a movie so many times, right? So I remember I'm 7 years old now, and I heard Sherlock Holmes, but I didn't realize it was really hard to read. So I think it was Hound of the Baskervilles that I got, and I tried to read it, and it just wouldn't make sense to me. It was just too advanced. طيب, I gave up reading fiction books up until recently, and I've just kind of gone back to Sherlock Holmes. I've just gone back to one of the stories. It's called The Problem of Thor's Bridge. Anyone familiar with that?
Oh, no.
It's a very, very interesting story. I made a video where I went through it in more detail on my channel. We'll link it below. But in essence, the summary is this. A death takes place, right? A death takes place. A woman is married to a very rich man. She's found dead, right? And the nanny is implicated for the murder. The nanny is implicated for the murder. And the guy likes the nanny. So motive, jealousy, all this, that, and the other. And they find the revolver of the nanny, or the revolver that matches the bullet that's in the head of the woman that's dead in the nanny's wardrobe. And there's a note that the dead woman's holding saying, meet me at 9 p.m. at Thor's Bridge, signed Grace, the nanny. So, cut a long story short, it was a suicide. The woman killed herself.
But she wanted to frame the nanny. So in her mind, this is my enemy, I want to get him out the way. And I'm not saying anyone commits suicide or anything like that, but get the more of the story. How do I get rid of this beautiful woman that my husband's infatuated with? And she just wanted to get rid of her. So you know what she did? She basically, the revolver had a pair.
She put one of the pairs inside the wardrobe, and the other one, she attached it to a piece of string, which she had a rope or something which she attached to a stone, had it over the bridge in such a way that when she shot herself and let go of it, the weight of the stone would basically fall onto the floor and fling the revolver into the ocean. So the murder weapon wouldn't be able to be found, but she would be implicated for the murder.
Yeah.
So what she was genius about this is that she wanted to get rid of the woman. This is obviously an extreme example, but she took the indirect approach, right? That's a mad, like even the way that Sherlock Holmes solves the mystery is so interesting. But point being is that, but there's always ways to do things. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? There's always ways to do things. Now, of course, don't go extreme and do anything that, you put yourself in danger or you kill yourself or anything like that. But the point is that actually there's always ways to bring down the giant. There's always ways to do it. Elon Musk has done it. Actually, who's the giant in his space? The giant in his space is what? Any car company that exists, right? Not only that, people realize Elon Musk ain't playing the car game. I was speaking to one brother the other day, he was saying,
game.
huh?
He's playing the battery game.
The what game?
Battery.
I don't even know about that, but that's another game. I'm saying he's taking over Uber. He's going to replace cabs, bro.
Yeah, self-driving cars.
He's going to replace cabs completely. Some brother's telling me, BYD is coming up. I'm like, brother, man doesn't care about the car.
But even the EV charging stations, he controls all of them, even if BYD comes out. So he's playing lots of steps ahead.
Exactly. And I'm saying that for me, even put that aside, the clearest example is Donald Trump. But the brother used to collect rent from people in the hood.
Yeah.
He used to collect rent from people in the hood. Now he's president of the United States.
One point that I would like to make is that in the Ummah, in the Muslim world, we have maybe not 500 billion, but we have people, a lot of people.
A lot of money.
A lot of money.
Loads.
You know what's the difference, Akhi? Mm-hmm. We don't have anyone who's ideologically driven. Elon Musk is ideologically driven. Bro. He has an ideology. He believes in something. He wants to achieve something. We don't have that, bro. They have a lot. Okay? We don't. This is a big problem.
Even that guy who's the CEO of Palantir, I remember, was asked the question, and this is one of the biggest companies aiding Israel, by the way.
CEO of who?
Palantir.
The spy cam and all
You haven't heard of Palantir?
face scans and all that.
One of the biggest AI and tech companies in the US, and they're one of the biggest supporters publicly of Israel. Big time. Like, they're the ones who help with their drone
basically face scan and basically
and their algorithm decides, okay, this guy should the drone shoot or not,
right?
Basically. And there's an interview with him where someone asked him, I can't remember what the context was, but they literally asked him, do you want the human race to endure? And he paused and he thought about it. He said, he said, yes, but my point is, bro, he was asked, do you want the human race to endure? And man's, who knows what he's got planned, what kind of vision, what ideology he's got planned, what he wants for the future, I don't know. My point is, these are the people that are out there doing these things, and he's right, Muslims, we've got resources, but we're not putting them in the right places. I'm
really happy that you mentioned that, because subhanAllah, when you look at all these people that want to build something, they have a reason for it, man.
100%.
They have a reason. They like, go read the book Built to Last. It was a study done across 200 years of companies that operate at the highest level, right? And subhanAllah, they outperform the market, the stock market, 6,000 times, right? 6,000 times. So if you invest $1 in the stock market, and them, you would have made a 6,000 plus X return. They all had crazy visions, like ideological visions. Yep. Whether they were authentic or not, genuine or not, is irrelevant, but they had that. And for us, subhanAllah, Allah has given us our vision for money. There's a hadith Qudsi where the Prophet ﷺ, he said that Allah said that I have sent down wealth for two things, so that the salah can be established and the zakat can be given. Okay, how many Muslims know this hadith? I feel like, sometimes I wonder, like, has there been a conspiracy to hide this hadith from people? Is the hadith authentic? Sunan al-Bayhaqi, is Mu'jam Tabarani, it's an authentic hadith.
There's a conspiracy, akhi, to limit people from dreaming big. It's called, in psychology, it's a mental health thing. You call it grandiose symptom. So you have a symptom of grandiose. Basically, if you have this kind of big dreams, they want to reach the sky and take over and this and that. It's basically called something to do with grandiose ideas or grandiose symptoms, and they'll sanction you, believe it or not. Anyone who dreams too big, other than just a 9 to 5 or the American dream, you know,
they
white
need you to set
picket
up for the
fence
factory,
or
right?
whatever, you're basically going to be labeled as an insane person.
Can I mention a very quick point,
Yes,
Sheikh,
sure.
on this that what Sheikh mentioned? You know, we have went public with, you know, doing this because we're already at $100 million riba-free investments in real estate. We want to get to 1 billion, and then we want to do this, we want to do this, all riba-free, disrupt the system. All this time I was doing it quietly, not being online, right? I haven't shared with this, like, since we went online, there have been many attacks from different sides, from the left, from the right. So the recent one was one of the agents in our company. He hasn't been with us. Like, he completely left real estate 2 years ago. He hasn't been with us. I think something happened. I don't know what happened. Like, he got caught with guns or something. Then he ran away when the police, like, something happened, and he was arrested.
It's not the guy that said shoot.
No, it's another one. It's another one. It's a new one.
No.
This is one of 300 agents.
One of 300 agents,
he
and
wasn't
not even
an
one of
agent. He
300.
left.
He left 2 years ago.
Okay.
But okay, so this issue happens now. It happens in America all the time, Sheikh. Like, you know, and he's a young kid, like 22, 23. Cops stop him. They get nervous. They have guns. That's illegal. Whatever, and they run. It's 23 years old. But somehow they linked it. Oh, he's an employee with Amin Realty, with the screenshot of like us welcoming him 2 years ago to the company. He's not even a part of the company anymore. Oh my God, it just happened 3 days ago.
Wow.
They went on full blast. They said third scenario where Amin Realty is found to hire radicals. Even the founder himself is a radical. Literally, I have to share the screenshots.
Wow.
All the local news, they have like 300,000 Facebook followers. All of them are sharing. All the right wingers are going crazy, even though they're supposed to be our friends. Sheikh, what happened?
I mean, look, the fact of the matter is that to walk this path here is not easy.
Yeah, that's true, yes.
There's no amount of money. There's no amount of desires that you have that $1 billion can solve, right? Like at max, bro, at 9 figures, and I'm saying at max, you've exhausted every possible desire that you can satisfy. So why is it Elon Musk is working for 11, 12, 13 figures? Why? Because there's something bigger that you believe in other than just your desires. And we've got more reason to believe in bigger things. So
Muslims.
if we're not going to be patient with the path and put the hard work in, then, bro, we should be embarrassed that we're going to let people like that do it.
That's why we're building the network, inshallah.
Inshallah ta'ala, inshallah. Like even if you look at the Zionist project, it took them 50 years. Plus, by the way, 60 years before.
1890, right?
1890, exactly. And it was in 1948 when the Zionist state was actually founded. Then they spent the next 50 years, so we're talking half a century. Then the next half a century, solidifying their position. Do you know what I'm saying? So play the long game. With that said, man, we spoke about a lot of things, inshallah. I think the fundamental message, guys, here is that, you know, do what's pleasing to Allah Azza wa Jal in terms of your wealth, in terms of your family, in terms of you know,
Life.
Yeah, your life, man. I come back to Allah Azza wa Jal, and you will find barakah in everything. With that said, guys, God love you and leave you. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.